Joshua Landis from the Center for Middle East Studies at the University of Oklahoma joins me on the line now. Good evening to you, Joshua. Coming into today's meeting,
Pleasure.
I'd suggest that Rex Tillerson had been flip-flopping quite a lot. He was saying at first that people of Syria will decide Assad's fate. Then he said that the US had helped put steps in place to organise his removal. Then it was back to it's down to the people of Syria. Now, again today, we heard comments saying that the Assad family era is coming to an end. So where do you think we stand now? Does Assad have to go or not?
Good evening. Well, certainly the United States has changed its rhetoric on Assad recently. But what it seems to be doing is finding the Obama doctrine, in a sense, falling in line with what President Obama did on Syria. A red line saying that Assad needed to step aside, but not actually doing anything to force him to step from office. And that's what we heard from the National Security Advisor yesterday, who said Assad has to go, but it's not going to be America that makes him go.
As for what the truth is behind the chemical attack, Vladimir Putin has said his opinion is that this was either a false flag or it was a strike on a chemical weapons facility held by the militants. He's called for a full investigation, but as we've seen on the vote at the UN Security Council, Russia wants it on terms that it agrees to, not in terms that it feels will be used to vindicate, blaming the Syrian government. What are your thoughts on all of that?
Well, clearly the two sides don't agree at all on what happened in this event. And not only do they not agree, but they don't agree on how the truth could be arrived at. And it's clear that the distrust is very low. As Tillerson and Lavrov both said, there isn't much trust. And so they don't even trust an investigation to be carried out that would be neutral. At least that's what it seems like.
And that does seem to be a sticking point. Russia is saying that if there's going to be an investigation, which it says it wants the government opposition to be spoken to. They want evidence to be taken from them as possible culprits as well as the government. Why would the US and its allies who are calling for an investigation, why would they not want to look at all the possible sources of information as Russia is asking for?
Well, first of all, there's just a technical difficulty that here Al-Qaeda is accused of carrying out this false false flag operation by Russia. So it would require that the UN carry out a dialogue with Al-Qaeda, which would put it in a very awkward position because it's supposed to be a terrorist organization.
Well, couldn't the US facilitate that, Joshua, because they are in constant contact with the rebels?
They are in contact with rebels, but not with Al-Qaeda, which is a prescribed organization and, of course, has carried out the September 11 attacks. So this underlines the awkward position in which the United States finds itself in Syria, which is that an alternative to Assad, if Assad were replaced and the regime were to collapse or be destroyed tomorrow, the two largest militias are Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and they would be in the best position to profit from regime change and possibly take Damascus. So this underlines the point that Lavrov was trying to make, is what is the alternative to Assad? You say you want him to go, but there is no alternative on the ground today, which is partly why the United States keeps on reiterating that it's not the power that is going to remove Assad. In theory, they want him gone. They're sticking to their talking points, but they're not going to do much to execute those talking points. At least that's what it seems will be the policy here, which is not very different from the Obama policy.
Joshua, fascinating to get your thoughts on this. Joshua Landis is my guest from the Center for Middle East Studies at the University of Oklahoma.